Welcome to the video tutorial for Florida Family Law Form 12.901A, the Petition for Simplified Dissolution of Marriage. The Petition for Simplified Dissolution of Marriage is only used in cases where you and your spouse are in complete agreement about everything in the divorce, have no minor children resulting from the marriage or adoption, and the wife is not pregnant. You must agree on how you will divide everything you own together. You must agree that neither of you are asking for alimony. You must be willing to give up your right to trial and appeal. And you and your spouse must both be willing to go into the clerk's office to sign the petition, although not necessarily together. And finally, you and your spouse must both be willing to go to the final hearing at the same time. If you each agree to all of these conditions, then you can use this form. Because you're agreeing to divorce without any disagreement over any issues, you and your spouse must complete this form together and sign this form together. By completing this form, you and your spouse are telling the court you have no disagreements between you about the divorce and the things that you own. We recommend you download the .rtf version of this document so that you can type in all of your information directly on the form. However, you can also print out the PDF version of this document and fill it out using black ink. If you do so, use your best handwriting possible. It is extremely important you stay organized during the divorce process. Staying organized will save you a lot of frustration and confusion down the road. We recommend you get a large accordion folder to store all of your documents. As you complete each document, place it in your folder until you've completed all of the documents in your divorce packet. We will cover exactly what you should do with all of your completed documents in a later video session. For now, you will complete this document and hold on to it until further instructions. If you have not opened the .rtf document or printed off your form yet, pause this video to do that now. Before we get started, we're going to use this portion of the video to help you understand specific items you should consider as you fill out this form. For the Petition of Simplified Dissolution of Marriage, you first need to determine if there are any areas of disagreement between you and your spouse. If there is even one area of disagreement, you will not be able to use this form. You must also make sure that you have met Florida's residency requirement prior to filing any type of divorce case in a Florida court. Please watch our Affidavit of Corroborating Witness video tutorial before moving forward to make sure you meet the residency requirement. You will also need the following information in order to complete this form: each person's full legal name, each person's residential address, the date each person first began living at this address, the date of your marriage, the place of your marriage, including the city, state, and country, whether or not the wife wants to restore her maiden name, and if she does, you will need her full legal maiden name, and your marital settlement agreement or mediated settlement agreement if you have one. Now, let's complete the form. Right now, you should see the Petition for Simplified Dissolution of Marriage form on your screen. The first section is called the case style. Let's walk through this section now. You will need to fill these blanks with the appropriate judicial circuit and county information for your case. At the very top of the form, you will see a blank heading that reads, "In the Circuit Court of the blank Judicial Circuit, in and for blank county, Florida." You're going to fill in the first blank with the circuit number from your Circuit County Quick Reference Guide. Next, you will fill in the second blank with the matching county name. You can skip the case number and the division because these blanks will be completed by the clerk of court when you submit all of your documents. On the next blank space, you will place the husband's full legal name on the blank above the word husband. On the next line, you will place the wife's full legal name on the blank above the word wife. The next section begins with a sentence and starts with we, full legal name, and a blank line for the husband. Place only the husband's full legal name on this line. The next blank line is for the wife's full legal name. Place only the wife's full legal name on this line. The next section is a series of statements and questions numbered 1 to 6 on the first page and numbered 7 through 11 on the second page. Let's take a moment to read each paragraph and become familiar with the statements and questions. Think about how you each will answer these questions. 1. We are both asking the court for a dissolution of our marriage. 2. Husband lives in blank county, state blank, and has lived there since date blank. Wife lives in blank county, state blank, and has lived there since date blank. 3. We were married to each other on date blank in the city of blank, in the state of blank, or country of blank. 4. Our marriage is irretrievably broken. 5. We do not have any minor or dependent children together. The wife does not have any minor or dependent children born during the marriage, and the wife is not pregnant. 6. We have divided our assets, what we own, and our liabilities, what we owe, by agreement. We are satisfied with this agreement. 7. Yes or no, the wife wants to be known by her former name, which was full legal name, followed by a blank line. 8. We each certify that we have not been threatened or pressured into signing this petition. We each understand that the result of signing this petition may be a final judgment ending our marriage and allowing no further relief. 9. We each understand that we both must come to the hearing to testify about the things we are asking for in this petition. 10. We understand that we each have legal rights as a result of our marriage and that by signing this petition, we may be giving up those legal rights. 11. We ask the court to end our marriage and approve our marital settlement agreement. For statements 1, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, and 11, you will need to determine if each of the statements are true or false. Make sure you discuss these items with your spouse and determine whether or not you both agree with the statements before you complete the form. If any of these statements are false, then you cannot continue to use this form. You will need to complete a different petition for dissolution of marriage. If each of these statements are true, then you can use this form and move forward with actually completing the document. Now, let's provide answers to questions 2, 3, and 7, and make a selection of one of the options in the item numbered 6. Remember, the information you see being entered on the screen is from our fictional divorce family, the Does. Your information may be different, so make sure you enter your responses as they apply to you and your situation. Paragraph number 2 asks for the husband and wife's residential information. The sentence begins with husband lives in, and there are a series of blank lines. On the first blank line, write the name of the county where the husband currently lives. On the second blank line, write the state where he currently lives. On the third blank line, write the date he first began living at this address. The next sentence says the wife lives in, and there is a blank line. There you will write the name of the county where the wife lives, followed by the state where she lives, and the date she first began living at that address. Paragraph number 3 asks you for the date, the city, the state, and the country of your marriage. The first blank line is for the date of the marriage. The second blank line is for the name of the city where you were married. The third blank line is for the name of the state where you were married. And the fourth or last blank line is the name of the country where you were married. You must complete each of these blanks. Paragraph number 6 asks you to make a selection of only one of the choices. First, we need to ask, have you both agreed on how you are dividing all of your assets, debts, bank accounts, investments, and other financial matters? The more complex your financial matters, the more important it is to talk to a financial professional or divorce attorney about how these things should be handled. Not all assets, debts, and investments are marital property. In other words, just because you got married, it doesn't mean your spouse has an automatic ownership interest in half of everything you brought into the marriage. For example, suppose you had a retirement account before getting married and you continued to build that account after you got married. Your spouse may or may not have an interest in a portion of the retirement funds you earned after getting married. Similarly, debt accrued before or after getting married may or may not be you or your spouse's responsibility. If you and your spouse cannot agree on whether property is marital or non-marital, you should consult an attorney who can help you determine the exact character of the property according to Florida law. Remember, we do not and cannot provide legal advice, so if you are unsure about any of these matters, you should consult an attorney immediately. Next, we need to ask, is your agreement on how you are dividing those things in writing? If so, is the written agreement one of the following types of written agreements? 1. Is the written agreement a mediation agreement? Please note, a mediated settlement agreement is not listed as an option on this form. However, it can be used in place of a marital settlement agreement. Please see the marital settlement agreement video tutorial for more information. 2. Is the written agreement simply a piece of paper where the two of you wrote down everything you were dividing and how you were going to divide things? Or 3, is the written agreement an actual document titled Marital Settlement Agreement? If the agreement is in writing, do you want the court to know about how you've divided everything, and do you want to provide the court with a copy of the written agreement? Or do you want to keep the written agreement between yourselves and not provide a copy of the document to the court? Some judges will require that you file a written agreement no matter your preference. We recommend you complete a marital settlement agreement if you do not have a mediated settlement agreement. If you do have a written agreement and you want to provide a copy to the court, place a mark on the first selection. If you do not want to provide a copy of the written agreement to the court, place a mark on the second selection. If you do not have a written agreement regarding how you are dividing your assets and debts and other financial matters, and you want to put everything in writing, you will need to complete the marital settlement agreement form. You can learn how to do that by watching the marital settlement agreement form video tutorial. Now, on to page 2 of the Petition for Simplified Dissolution of Marriage. You should now see number 7 at the top of this page. First, let's ask the question, does the wife want to restore her maiden name? If yes, place a mark on the box for yes. She will also need to provide her full legal maiden name on the blank line provided. If she does not want to change her name, place a mark on the box for no, and do not place any information on the blank line asking for a full legal name. You should have already read statements 8, 9, 10, and 11. If these statements are true, you will each need to sign the document in front of a notary. If any of the statements for 8, 9, 10, or 11 are false, you cannot use this form. Let's take a minute to talk about numbers 8 and 9 to be sure you understand what they mean. Number 8 on the form reads, "We each certify that we have not been threatened or pressured into signing this petition. We each understand that the result of signing this petition may be a final judgment ending our marriage and allowing no further relief." By signing this form, you are telling the court that you are agreeing to this divorce voluntarily. It also means that you are telling the court that you understand that your marriage will be terminated. Number 9 on the form reads, "We each understand that we both must come to the hearing to testify about the things we are asking for in this petition." This means you are telling the court that you will present yourself before the judge to answer any questions they may have before granting final judgment in your divorce. Both you and your spouse will be required to present yourself before the judge on a specified day and time to finalize your divorce. If you and your spouse do not want to attend your final hearing together, you cannot file for simplified dissolution of marriage. Please see our final hearing video tutorial for a complete explanation of that process. This form must be signed in the presence of a notary. Do not sign the form until you are in front of a notary. You will need to have your driver's license or other form of identification with you for the notary. The next section is a signature block for the husband. On the blank line titled Dated, place the date you are actually signing this document on that line. On the next set of blank lines, where it has a place for the husband's signature, printed name, and other contact information, you will place all of the husband's contact information in these areas. Again, this form must be notarized. The next section you see says State of Florida, County of blank. Do not complete this section. The remainder of this form is to be completed by a notary. Next, you will see another signature block for the wife. On the blank line titled Dated, place the date you are actually signing this document on that line. On the next set of blank lines, where it has a place for the wife's signature, printed name, and other contact information, place all of the wife's contact information in these areas. Again, because this form must be notarized, the next section you see says State of Florida, County of blank. You do not need to complete this section. The remainder of the form in this section is to be completed by a notary. Lastly, you will see a section that has an area that says, if a non-lawyer helped you fill out this form. Since you will be completing this form yourself, you do not need to complete this section. Leave this section blank. Congratulations, you have successfully completed Florida Family Law Rules of Procedure Form 12.901A, which is your petition for simplified dissolution of marriage. You should only have one document left to complete in your simplified dissolution of marriage packet. So let's take a moment to review a few things. Remember, if there is even one area of disagreement, you will not be able to use this form. Also, make sure you have met Florida's residency requirement prior to filing any type of divorce case in a Florida court. At this point, you should have already completed Form 12.928, the cover sheet for family court cases, Form 12.900H, the notice of related cases, Form 12.902B or 12.902C, the family law financial affidavit, Form 12.902F3, marital settlement agreement for simplified dissolution of marriage. Next, complete Form 12.990A, Final Judgment of Simplified Dissolution of Marriage, using the video tutorial session on your main menu. If you would like access to the next video tutorial in this series, head over to justdivorceflorida.com. The link is in the description box below, and purchase access to the entire program right now. Just Divorce is Florida's only step-by-step, do-it-yourself resource that makes filing for divorce in Florida practically foolproof. And when you purchase access to the Just Divorce program, you also get access to several bonus materials like a quick claim deed to transfer property, a simple will packet, and our special ebook, How to Leverage the Help of an Attorney Without Breaking the Bank. If you want to file for divorce in Florida, but you don't have the money for a lawyer, or you just want to keep lawyers out of the process, Just Divorce is the resource you need to obtain a legal and binding divorce without standing in long lines at self-help centers or struggling to figure things out on your own. If you're ready to get started, visit justdivorceflorida.com today. Thanks for watching.